Well, it is Sunday morning and we've got to do a little work to this chopper before we get going today. If you recall in the last video, when we left off with you, we had this machine all blown off and it was ready to go for yesterday. All I had to do was sharpen the knives and roll into chopping. Well, I had a little tiny fire, nothing big, just some dust and whatever smoldering over on the far side of the knife sharpening area here. Right over in where that stone sweep ends up parking itself. It was just a little bit of dust and whatever that was smoldering in over on that side. So I moved the stone over. You go into your calibrations and you do your stone positioning, whatever, and you can move it halfway and leave it. And I pawed the crap out, no big deal. Pawed that all out of there. Finished the calibration of the knife sweep, whatever. Put that back. Set the shear bar. While the shear bar was setting, of course, all the dust that was on top of the knives, that all kind of blew itself out. Finished setting the shear bar, looked things over, put the head back on, started chopping. A couple loads later, I figured I better check on this. Opened up my door here. I look over in that one side and there's a little bit of smoke. Looked like a smoke from a cigarette coming up through. So I said, my God, there must be some dust on fire down in here. And it kind of gets hidden down inside this channel. So I took the water fire extinguisher and sprayed it quick. Got it all nice and wet in there. Figured out that'll take care of it. Went back chopping. The hay we're chopping is anywhere from 55 to low 60s for moisture. Went back chopping, a couple loads later, checked on it again. Still a little bit of smoke coming up through here, but a little more on this side. Well, it was burning pretty good down in on this right hand side and down in this area, and I've got some wires that are burned up and a grease line that we've got to fix and whatever. So I spent my water cannon on it, took the head off, rolled up behind one of our neighbors' houses where we were chopping, grabbed his garden hose, sprayed the whole chopper down, and we went back chopping. So I do have a grease line here that is burned off. I've got to find where that goes to. It is, the fire was right down in there. You can kind of see how it has discolored the paint. But we've just got some wires to fix and whatever here, but we'll go ahead and get at that. I thought there was a, yeah, so yeah, we're gonna get after it here. So let's get our wires fixed and get the knives sharpened, and we'll go ahead and roll on out of here. Another thing we have is a cutter head to one of the Pottinger mowers. This is from the newer mower, the front one. Brother had a stick go in the head, knife, I don't know if the turtle bent down or if just the knife bent down, and it broke. Took a big chunk out of the cutter head here. So they put a new cutter head on it. We've got to pull a couple of these turtles out, find that piece, and weld that up. So yeah, fun stuff. So let's go ahead and dive into this and get this thing fixed. Well, we've got all of our zip ties caught and our protective coating removed, and we've gotten down into these wires to see what's damaged and what's not. We've got 3 wires here in this cluster that are burned. Over in here, this is mainly where it was burning, is right in this area here. You can kind of see where it's got the paint discolored here. It's got the paint burned off around this grease zerk. It's all black down in here. And over on this wire harness coming over to this elbow here, it burned through this coating, but it did not hurt the wires at all. So we've got to tape that all up nice like and get that covered all back up so that we don't chafe through any wires there, and get that fixed up. And then our grease line hooks up to a fitting up there, comes down around down through here and over to this 90-degree spot right here. So we're going to take that off and make up a new grease line as well. Well, we somewhat have this back together. We fixed these wires in here. There was actually 5 wires there. I put some loom on that other wire harness there. Those wires were fine. We've got this grease line here we've got to address yet. And there was 2 grease lines that got burned down in here. They go over to the, let's see, we got smooth roll and the magnet roll, or the bottom feed roll. So I just put grease zerks in both of these. We're just going to grease that by hand for now. So I don't have the right unions to fix this grease hose. I might have something for that 90 down in there, but we need to get this case shut. And then there's a valve bank on this side. We'll just put a new grease hose on it so we can get this closed up. Well, we're getting right after it here now. We got a little bit of a later start than I wanted to get today, but at least we're getting after it. The hay's plenty green. It's got enough moisture still in it, so at least we're not hurting that way. This is running right around 61% moisture. Got pretty good constituents with it, 22% protein. This here's new seed. This was seeded last summer. So we haven't got a full day of chopping today, but we've got a fair amount to do. Being that we're getting a little bit of a later start, probably going to take us till 7 o'clock to get done what we've got to get done. Now we've got a few things to do to this chopper. Once we get done with first cutting, we've got a tooth bar to put on the left side of this head. I hope I'm not hurting anything by running it the way I am. We've got a couple of grease lines to replace, and what else do we have? I forget now. Oh, the power shaft. I'll probably see the power shaft. I don't know if I get that Monday or Tuesday, but we need to get that on there. If we sneak over the top of a thick windrow or something and get hay wound around that shaft, that could turn into a mess. Andrew called me on the way as I was making my way to the field. He blew a hydraulic line on the 8120. That's the tractor that he was using on the rock merger. So we've got to get that fixed here later on today. It looks like my nephew ended up looking at it for me as well. It's a hydraulic line that goes from, looks like the hydraulic pump up over the top of the rear end into maybe the rock shaft. So we've got to get that fixed and sorted for tomorrow. So we'll just keep after it here. We've got 2 tractor trailers running today and 4 straight trucks. So we've got Bradley and Alex down on that end of the field. We've got Sarah and Davey coming in behind me here. We're not that far away from the farm. Jared's hauling manure. And yeah, he'll come to us a little later on if we need him. So we'll keep her going here. Tuesday. Everything went real smooth here Sunday after we fixed our wires and our grease line. And now we're just dealing with some cloud cover. It's overcast from all of the smoke from the wildfires in Canada. So we started 1 week ago today. Tim just going out with C5 on the other black Moss trailer. We had the Western Star on there. He didn't like that one, so he unhooked the C5 from the manure tanker. He likes that truck anyways. And put the C5 on black Moss trailer. We had the Peterbilt on the red Moss trailer, which now you'll see that the blue Western Star is on it. We had some work done to the Peterbilt here about a month ago. I ended up taking it into Kenworth, being that it has a pay car or a pack car engine in it. That's something that they could work on. And it had some fuel related problems. There was a check valve or something or other in the filter head that was bothering. They replaced that. I don't know if they replaced the whole filter head or what. I didn't exactly even look at it. Well, my father's been using that for the past couple days. And this morning he was letting it air up. And no more than got up to air pressure. The truck quit. Wouldn't start. So Sarge went down to help him get it going. He couldn't figure it out. Jared stopped hauling manure because Jared and Tim were hauling manure. And Jared couldn't immediately figure it out. So he said, well, I'll just pull it out of the way and put the Western Star on it. Jared went back hauling manure. He got doing a little bit of research on it. He actually called Kenworth, said, hey, this truck you guys worked on is not wanting to start. Well, they kind of blew him off. Told him if they came out to work on it, it'd be a minimum of $600 to do a service call to come out. He says, ah, the hell with you. I'll figure it out, he said. So he did some research on it and found that there's some kind of a ball in the filter head that's just basically in there for more or less a safety precaution. They want to make sure that if you've got the wrong filter or a plugged filter or what have you, they want to make sure that the fuel system isn't compromised. It sucks that ball in and kind of keeps the truck from starting. Well, that ball was removed, so it was not in there. Jared was going to go ahead and remove it. So being as tight of a fuel system as these newer engines have, he got looking around, he looked at all the work that they would have possibly done to it. Got looking over some fuel lines, he could tell that this one was taken apart and that one was taken apart. So he decided to dissect it a little bit. He figured it might have had an air leak or something. And he ended up finding a folded over O-ring in one of the fuel line connections. So with that being said, he's got that fixed and the Peterbilt's sitting now. We'll probably put that back on one of these Moss trailers for tomorrow, because my father likes hauling with that. He's actually in a straight truck right at the moment, and Sarge is hauling with this blue Western Star that is coming in behind us. So I don't know what trailer that blue Western Star looks better on, whether it's the black Moss trailer or the red one. I don't know if I can bring myself to buying a blue Ford blue Moss trailer. It's bad enough that that truck is Ford blue. But we're not sure if we're going to paint that or not. The paint's in good shape, and we've got these white Freightliners here. We haven't painted them yet either, to kind of get them into our color scheme, because the paint is good on them as well. So we're going to keep plugging away here. We're chopping some pretty decent stuff, running right around 60% moisture. And I don't think we have to worry about any hay getting away from us as far as being too dry. Sunday night we did run into a situation where the hay was just a touch too dry and the chopper was gumming up. I plugged one time with 3 windrows left in the field. We got done with that field. I limped the chopper through it, meaning that I chopped real slow, because it was about 7 o'clock and I just didn't want to be screwing around for an hour trying to chop 3 or 4 short windrows. But we got that done, hit one of the fields on our way home that we were going to go into next. Moisture on that was about the same. So we ended up quitting for the night, started it early yesterday morning. Had a little bit of moisture on the hay, and we walked right through it without any problems. So we've got a pretty good couple of 3 days here left, and then we'll have first cutting all wrapped up. So I guess that's gonna do it for this video. They did deliver the tine bar for this head here, which we're planning on putting that on once we get done. It's just a few hour job, and I just don't have the time right at the present moment to put it in there unless we get rained out. But I mean, you can see it's cloudy like it's gonna rain, but apparently it is hazy and whatever from the smoke from that wildfire in, I think it's Western Canada, from what I thought they said. So you guys have to be the judge. How's the Western Star look on that blue or that red Moss trailer? I'm not really getting that much of a look at it, but at any rate, yeah. So that's gonna do it, folks. So I want to thank you for watching, and we will catch you at the next video. Well, the Western Star is doing a little field spreading today. We're gonna replace this power shaft that powers the head. The plastic shield came off of it last week, and I ordered this new one. The new complete shaft was $1,700. Just the plastic was $1,300. So I ended up ordering the whole damn thing. If you recall in one of the last videos, the clips, it wasn't staying locked together. There's some metal clips that kind of keep it pushed down and locked onto the yellow part to keep it from coming this way. And those clips were gone, and that the ends were just kind of bouncing around on there, and what it had done was it had released the bottom, or yeah, the bottom part of the shaft, and then that ended up underneath the chopper around on about a little steeper than a 90-degree angle. I was actually afraid to see what kind of shape that was in, but it didn't bend it or anything. So we're gonna go ahead and replace that. I'm not sure how this plate is on either end. I might have to replace them too, but I'd been kind of worried about getting hay wound around that coming over the top of a tall windrow, so I've been real careful about where I've been walking with this, just so that we didn't get hay wound around it. Now if we had that shaft off of there and corn, it'd be a different story. There'd probably be corn stalks wound around it. We're down to the last 500 to 600 acres, and there's a demo chopper coming today that we're gonna get a chance to use. It's a John Deere 9700, and it has the 18-liter John Deere engine in it. But you can see we are extremely overcast here, and that is, it's smoke is what it is, and it is more or less blocking the sun. So there's wildfires up north of us here, and the smoke is just kind of coming down in through this area. So it doesn't provide much sun to dry this hay, but we don't want this hay to dry out too fast anyways. So we'll go ahead and get this shaft changed out, get some grease in it, get the knives sharpened, and we'll roll on out of here. And a little later on here, if that demo chopper shows up, we'll use that. Try that out, see how that does. The old 8700 here's got 3100 engine hours and 2000 cutter head hours on it. Well, we've got our new power shaft on there. That looks a lot better with a shroud on it. We're sharpening the knives. We sprayed it down with water. I just get worried about the damn dust catching on fire. And we'll get these knives sharpened and we'll get to the field. I chopped a couple of loads on the other side of the road there, and I'm just waiting for some trucks to get here. Now, earlier on here, we had talked about having some problems with this rock merger. Well, those problems have been resolved now, and it is working perfectly. We had some issues where we were getting some rocks caught, little tiny stones. We're having trouble getting them caught in the cam follower guide. The cam follower is the there's bearings on the end of the tooth bar, and that gives the tooth bar the proper position to roll around to pick the hay up and then to deliver it to the belt. We were breaking some of them teeth off, getting them caught. We've got that problem resolved. We were running it a little lower than we needed to. It wants to be able to run between 31 and 34 inches, and we're right at about 35 now, and everything is working a lot better on it. So we're gonna turn around here, and we need to show you some problems that we're having down in this particular area. There's some flooding issues with this creek that's in behind me here, and it floods these houses out, and it also floods out the field that's on the other side of the road that we've chopped a few loads in already. So we are on the east side of Bear Mountain right now. I've talked about that in a couple of the other videos there earlier on this spring. But this creek comes down off this big hill here out of a Tisco. And it comes down, well, it's right to our left-hand side here. And it has made a pretty good turn. It's got a pretty good turn to it here, and it has crested over the top of the bank here. You can see they've got it somewhat fixed, and when it crests over the top of this bank, it gets rushing this way and it ends up flooding these houses out. So there's a lot of gravel and whatever in this one corner here, and they have fixed it, and then the gravel is plugged up some, and we have some trouble across the road. We'll show you that here in a minute, but it floods these 3 houses out and it makes a rather mess. There's been debris that has been blown across this field here, and they've got a real mess in the field that is across the road. So we'll show you that here in a second. And I got the phone ringing. Well, we are now on the other side of the road. There's about 60 acres in this one field. The creek comes down off that hill there, comes under the road, and from all that gravel and whatever that's on the other side, we get a real heavy rainstorm, and it bunches that gravel up, bunches up a lot of the debris, and it forces that creek to come out into the field. Now you might be saying, Andy, geez, you got an excavator and a bulldozer, why don't you just go and fix it? Well, it ain't that frickin' easy. This is a tributary to Onondaga Creek, and no one is allowed to alter the creek at all. Meanwhile, it has come out into this field, and it has ruined a lot of the field. The water is flowing along this side here. We're waiting for Onondaga County Soil and Water. We're waiting for the DEC. We're waiting for several agencies to put their heads together and figure out a plan here. I mean, this is the creek is now moved out into this field. It's supposed to be running in there, so it's coming clear across here. This field ran right to the edge of those trees. Here is the shape file right here. That is the shape file, and we've made our first time around here, and all of this side of the field is all wet, and it's really non-farmable. So we've got topsoil that is starting to leave the field because there's some washouts in this field from the water running across it, and it's made a huge mess. These poor people that live on the other side of the road there's 3 houses. Their houses get flooded out, and nothing can be done with that creek. The state, I don't know if the Army Corps of Engineers got working on it, or the DEC hired somebody or something, but they did bail that creek out a little bit. They forced it, the gravel, pulled the gravel out to keep the water flowing the way it should. But the water came down off of that hill with so much debris that it plugged up that one spot, and it made the water go straight, and it forced it across that field. And then when they fixed it, I think they should have dug all the gravel out and put some big Gabion stone in there or something. But we're just kind of driving around the edge here, and you can see it's a freaking mess. I don't know what. Well, there's a fair amount of water standing there, And it is as dry as it is. There's a lot of water flowing still. So we're getting back around to this side of the field here, and we'll kind of show you how much water is actually running in this creek here. You can see that it's got the field. We'll walk over there. It has the field washed out real bad over there. Well, we'll kind of walk up to the edge of the creek here, but all the water was flowing across the field. It was actually nothing running in this actual creek here, where it was supposed to run. I mean, you can see there's a fair amount of water running now, but most of it is coming right across and out of this field. It has eroded the field this much. You can see some tile lines that we have put in coming across there to dump them into the creek over there. But where is all this topsoil went? It's not here anymore. I mean, look at this. This is a mess. We got some old Orangeburg tile, the clay tile over there. So this has been farmed a long time here. This is not just something that we started farming and this happened. This is all new. Look at that. What a stinking mess. Oh well. But maybe the government can come up with a solution here, but nobody can make a decision to alter this and be able to fix it. But at any rate, oh well. Well, we've got this field done, and as you can see, there's quite a bit of smoke in the air. This is not a setting on the camera. I don't have my exposure screwed up or my aperture out of whack or anything like that. This is just the way things are. You can kind of see the smoke all against the trees there, and then you really can't see the sky from any higher up than the top of that mountain right there. So we're getting ready to move over onto the other side of the road here. And yeah, we're just gonna keep plugging away here. But yeah, it looks very strange with all this smoke in the air. Today is supposed to be one of the worst days. Well, this is where we are going to sign off from this video, and we're going to jump into the next video. If you look over there, you'll kind of figure out what we have coming up in the next video. So take it easy, folks. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you in the next video.